So you wonder now, ladies and gentlemen, what's the what is it, a quarter worth of beer, mister? You wonder now what's the future of this team. I mean, you can't come. You got to be together in this tag team division in this company.
A title reign of 228 days comes to an end.
That's impressive as hell.
Yes, it is.
And Omega walking out on Hangman Page, and perhaps this is the end.
Hello and welcome to the War Report. I just hit one of the greatest get theres in Tony Hawk history, and I'm here with a very special guest. Very, very special. Part of ESPN Cheap Heat with Peter Rosenberg. I'm very surprised that he agreed. It's that guy, Greg.
Yeah, what's going on? What's going on? I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, man. I'm happy that you're here as well. How are you?
I'm doing good. I can't complain.
All right.
As good as people can be doing with the COVID and all of that.
Yeah, for 2020 standards, like getting by is good enough.
No.
But you are an infamous, well, I wouldn't say infamous, but you are a truther, or you tell the truth about what AEW does, which most people really don't. And that's why I thought it would be perfect to have you on the show for one of the AEW pay-per-views. Yeah,
man. I mean, I want AEW to be what they told me they would be. You know what I mean? Like, and that's the only thing. They make a lot of promises, lofty promises, and then they just generally don't end up delivering on them.
Yes, and we're going to get a lot into that with a lot of signings and champions and headaches that happened over the weekend. But All Out, 4 hours long. I thought that was kind of crazy. Yeah, sorry, we're just going to get into it. But
let's jump right in. This is the War Report, man. Everybody, your audience is familiar with how this goes right now, right? NXT, AEW, the week that was, and just head-to-head reviews.
And it's been a weird couple 3 weeks so far with, AEW randomly being on Thursdays and NXT being on Tuesdays, and like both shows having pay-per-views, like kind of like back-to-back weeks. So it's been a lot, and I'm trying not to go over time this time around. So
man, this is your show. This is your show.
But AEW All Out, a very, very long show. When it started approaching midnight, I just started looking at my clock, and I was just like, hey man, let's wrap it up. The review on Cage Match, which is just a site that I frequent often, this is the lowest rated AEW pay-per-view, and I'm glad people are being very honest about it.
Yeah. I mean, rightfully so.
Yeah. And we have the Tooth and Nail match, which I predicted last week would take place in a dentist's office, and I didn't believe that it would actually take place in a dentist's office.
Yeah.
Thoughts about the match?
I like that match a little. I mean, I saw it got panned a lot, but I liked it. I thought it was interesting. I mean, the cinematic matches are tough, right? Because they take away the things that these wrestlers rely on a lot, which is the crowd and the live atmosphere and this and that. So, with that being taken away, I think they did all right. It wasn't going to be like this 5-star classic, classic match. Just the fact that it's not taking place in a wrestling ring, requires more imagination. But I liked it.
Yeah, I liked it a lot. I loved the finish where Britt Baker stabs herself with Novocaine. I know that's a bit extreme, but the Novocaine act quickly, and then Big Swole was able to get the pin. As you said, it wasn't going to be a classic or any like 5-star stuff. So I was just looking to be entertained, and they did.
Yeah,
I liked it.
It was a decent opener. I think Tony Khan being bullied into putting it on the actual show was a mistake. Like, just leave it where it was on the pre-show for free. Let that be the last thing you see on free TV instead of like the first thing you see on the pay-per-view was bad placement, but good match.
What I would have preferred was I missed the pre-show because I took a nap prior to the show, but I wish the the Dark Order, Dustin Rhodes, Matt Cardona, score. Oh, there was just like so many people in the match. I really wish that was on the pre-show, because like that happening right before the main event just took all the wind out of my sails. And
honestly, I wish that Young Bucks match was on the pre-show, man. If I was redoing it, just because they took way too much time. They didn't.
A lot of these tag matches take up a lot of time, and I know AEW focuses a lot on their tag team division, but 4 tag matches on a show, I was getting tired.
and like you said, man, like these tag matches took up way too much time. I like FTR. I like that they pulled out the win, but they didn't need a half an hour with Kenny Omega and Hangman Page. Like they didn't.
I would have been fine if they did, but then the 8-man following up was also really long, and I just thought that was like really confusing. Like the tag team championships probably should have just had the most time out of all the tag matches, but it is what it is. The Young Bucks get a win to prove that they're serious over Jungle Express, who loses all the time. Lance Archer wins in a battle royale. That's not that great.
No, it wasn't that great. And honestly, you know, people are gonna hate me for this. This might be your most hated episode, but I mean, why is AEW doing a battle royale, where, you know, the prize is the number 1 contender for the championship? You know, you have a ranking system. So they always jump to the battle royals. You have a ranking system. There shouldn't be a mystery as to who's next in line. There's a ranking system. So now the battle royale winner, just jumps the line over this ranking system that you told us would be so important and so monumental to what you're trying to do, man. Like,
I've been saying that since January. And when Brian Cage came in at the for the casino ladder match at the last second, everybody was fine with that. I like Brian Cage, so I thought it was okay. But MJF, who was undefeated since January, didn't receive his title shot till last weekend.
Yeah, and then it's gone in a flash, and then, like, you know, again, what's the point of these rankings if people can just skip the line with a win in one multi-man match?
I really wish that they would just scrap it, because it only applies to when we don't know what we're going to do next. So put somebody, and it really works a lot with the women. Like with the women, they always like interchange that, and even when the champion lost, they're still a number 1 contender because they're still high in the rankings. And I was just like, there's an issue there because people are going to want their rematch, you know. And there's also the mystery quality of wins that that's also there. Since January. It's January. It just doesn't make any sense.
It makes no sense.
We're going to go into the big controversial match here, Sammy Guevara versus Matt Hardy. We're just going to skip right into it. They should have just stopped the match.
Yeah, agreed. I have a lot of thoughts on this match too. I mean, the obvious one is that they should have stopped the match, but like, you know, AEW is really at fault on this one. If there's a time to hold their feet to the fire, this is it, because, you know, he hits the ground, his head bounces off of the ground.
Splat.
He gets up. Yeah, basically, he gets up, he can't walk. He probably doesn't know where he is. You know, the referee throws up the X twice. No,
twice. People don't
first
talk
time
about
she throws it up,
going up twice.
Yeah, the first time she throws it up, nobody comes to help. Then he's trying to continue. She throws it up again. The doctor finally jumps in, and then within 2 minutes, the match is started back up.
Yeah, restarted.
And then he's allowed to like climb scaffolding and take bumps and things like that. I mean, it's a last man standing match, right? So yes, she threw up the X, but
it could have ended in a no contest.
It could have ended right there.
And
or
then
she
have
could
the
have just
rematch
needed her
later.
10 count. You know, her 10 count was, she took her time with it.
But for some reason, Matt Hardy had to win here and getting the younger talent over. God was trying to intervene and say, hey, man, just put the young man over. Do the thing. and for some reason he still won the match. I think everybody should have just called an audible. Just call an audible.
Yeah.
Just let Matt Hardy lose and then have him work in, well, they don't have a writing team, so he can't really necessarily do that. But,
tag matches or something, keep him out of the ring. But
that would have been the perfect time to do it. Sammy Guevara could have got a really nice win here and used that momentum. But now Matt Hardy gets that momentum and then he's gone. Because on Wednesday last night, he says he has to go and recover, but never says what he has to recover from.
He never said what.
And never said he was injured or hurt.
And that's the thing that's killing me is because, he's clearly concussed, right?
Mm-hmm.
First, they come out and say, the match continued because Matt Hardy said he was okay. And then they were like, oh, he passed the concussion test. We would never just let a wrestler wrestle because they say he's okay. And it's like in 2 minutes he passed whatever they were doing and then was back to work. It's like it doesn't make sense that he would have passed that fast.
When the doctor basically put him on his 2 feet and just waved his finger and it was just like, oh, okay, you're good. In less than a minute. I don't know what the CTE or concussion protocol is, but I'm sure it can't be assessed in that amount of time. This ridiculous.
That's the funny thing too, right? Because with everything else, right, AEW peels back the curtains. They're like, this is who we talked to, this is what we said, this is the extent of blah blah blah. But then when it's time to discuss what happened with Matt Hardy,
silence.
It's shrouded in mystery.
And also is with Tony Khan going on Twitter saying Matt Hardy's fine, and then Matt Hardy's wife going, no, he's not.
Yeah, and he definitely didn't have a concussion. But then what's he recovering from?
It's just his shoulder, back. What is it?
You know what I mean? And I think them allowing the match to go on is dangerous, and then them denying that he had a concussion or any other type of injury is equally dangerous. And they already denied it, so they can't come back and say, "Oops, yeah, he did." That opens up a whole can of worms that they probably don't want to deal with. But I mean, everybody who watched saw.
Yeah,
he was concussed. We all know what it looks like at this point, and the match should have stopped.
And the fact that they just continued is ridiculous. And I don't know why they wouldn't just put the younger man over. I even just booking wise, I thought it was insane. And then for him to climb the scaffolding, also insane. And people would just rather be mad about this whole TikTok real name situation.
Yeah,
getting Andrew Wang involved, and I'm just there's a man could cuss and nobody's talking about it.
His life is in danger, and it's just that's just wild to me. You know what I mean?
They plan on him to come back. Don't do that. Do not do that.
No, honestly, and a lot of the it was disappointing to see a lot of the discourse around this too basically devolve into whataboutism. People brought up Charlotte and Kyrie in the tag match. I think that was in December.
Yeah. And
then people brought up the match on Monday. It was an 8-man tag, and it's just first of all, this is a one-on-one match, right? What happened in these multi-man matches is you work around the person. They're off to the side, and then the other people can speed to the end. And you get out of the situation. In a one-on-one match, the only way to do that is to just literally stop it. Nobody mentioned the Randy Orton Daniel Bryan match where they stopped it and then ended the match suddenly, and then so much so that Daniel Bryan got mad and yelled at Triple H in the back. But that was a one-on-one match, and he got concussed, and they made the only move that you make in that situation versus let's pause it and continue it and then risk Matt even more.
People like to forget. People like to act like they'd never seen wrestling before. But yeah, those are all fair points, and Godspeed for Matt Hardy on his recovery. But please, just stop. I think it's time to hang it up. I'm just sorry, but
I think so too.
He wanted Sammy give Sammy Guevara the rub, but doesn't give him the win, I think very awful.
Yeah.
But we're gonna go into the women's match here: Thunder Rosa versus Hikaru Shida. I love Thunder Rosa here. I think if she would have won, it would have been a breath of fresh air. But Hikaru Shida wins, and the AEW Women's Division is the same as always, unpredictable and nothing really.
It was a really good match, though. I'll give them that. I didn't know what to expect out of either one of these women, and so
Thunder Rosa was really good.
Yeah, I don't know how often they fought each other. I don't know if this was their first match. They looked like they had some chemistry. They looked really comfortable with each other, and I think this was probably one of the best matches of the night in terms of like work rate and just keeping the action moving and everything like that.
It was a very different match. After all, getting bombarded with all these multi-man and tag matches, it was really nice to just get a breath of fresh air here. I don't know what the NWA AEW partnership is, but Thunder Rosa will be back. I wish she would have won the belt. I think that would have been really great because Hikaru Shida really doesn't do it for me. Like, I think she's really great, but like AEW just hasn't really done anything with her. So like, I kind of just don't really care for her.
It would have been cool though to see her like win it and just take it to NWA and like parade it around the world with that championship and give it some legitimacy there. But I mean, at the same time, it's like that's that old school booking of you're not going to come into the territory and then be our champion.
Even though we invited you over. Like,
yeah, no way.
I'm just glad that Thunder Rosa will be back, and she will be defending her NWA championship next week against Ivelisse on Wednesday or Thursday. God knows. NBA playoffs and stuff like that. Dustin Rhodes and Friends beats Dark Order, and Dustin gets a championship shot. Matt Cardona looks the same as always. That's all I can say. This match really doesn't do it for me.
Yeah. And, now that I'm thinking about it too, your point about it being on free TV makes sense too, especially if he's going to go after the TNT championship, why not have this air on TNT and then just, move the story along that way.
And then fast forwarding just a little bit to AEW this week, Dustin gets his title shot with Brody Lee. He loses. There's 2 minutes on the show, and then AEW cuts into this very weird commercial that everybody is just like, what the hell is this? But it is what it is. Game show or whatever.
Yeah.
FTR versus Kenny Omega and Hangman Page. I like
FTR, good. Man. I can't knock him.
I do like him as well, but I don't know if I like this as much as I like the Young Bucks match a few months back. Dates are shaky for me, but I did like this a lot. But I did feel the burnout from all the other tag matches that were on the show. I think that's the only knock that I can really give this match. I thought it was just fantastic tag team stuff.
Yeah, and I appreciate that they tried to tell the story more of Kenny Omega and Hangman Page in that dissension, but I'm still confused as to why Kenny Omega is so upset with Hangman. I could get the Young Bucks, he cost them their shot, screwed them over completely. They want him out of the Elite, but he fought really hard for Kenny Omega and for those tag titles.
Yeah, I'm not really. I guess it's because Kenny Omega feels alone, and this is why I just been pitching that Kenny Omega should join the Dark Order, because he feels alone and he feel like he doesn't have his friends because the Young Bucks are doing their own thing. Hangman likes FTR more than he really likes Kenny, or he relates to them more.
Right. And
then Kenny is just oh, I'm just here. My friends are around, but nobody's sitting at the table with me.
And the Young Bucks didn't even leave with him too when he trying to bounce and get them to get into the car. I don't know what they had better to do, but
they had to clean up, Yeah,
he was they weren't having it.
I don't know where Kenny went, but he just left, and I think that would have been a cool time for at least to have somebody in the Dark Order, at least in the background, or confront him and kind of sway him over. He says he's going to return to singles competition. Good luck. because I don't really know what's going to be going on in this division. I
Hopefully
don't.
it's not too late, honestly,
Mm-hmm.
because people were hoping for Kenny Omega, this killer, like this, best
Mm-hmm.
bout machine, and we haven't gotten that in AEW yet.
He said he's going to bring it this Wednesday. He said, I'm going to give the people what they want. And I really just think that this is just the countdown ticker to his match with Hangman Page, the same way as this FTR win is just a countdown for their match to the Bucks. Like, it all leads up to that. So whatever matches happen from then till now don't really matter to me.
Word. Hope.
Orange Cassidy versus Chris Jericho. I think this match is awful.
Yeah.
Them just, whoa, I'm gonna fall, no, whoa, I'm gonna fall, and then Jericho just falls, puts him over, and then Orange Cassidy's back to the mid card.
Yeah, this match did more for Jericho than it did for Orange Cassidy. Honestly, like Jericho is bad. I'm sorry, he is bad. He's not good in the ring. He's as good as he ever was on the mic, but he's just not good in the ring. And like this demo god stuff and this breaking the fourth wall stuff is just, gotta stop. Like,
I have the same problem with like the demo god stuff. The same like when Finn Balor does his like very like meta promos and stuff like that. Like, not a fan of either. But I'm just gonna put this into perspective: is that Orange Cassidy is back to the mid card. Jericho is on his way to being a tag team champion, or like he's inserting himself into the tag team division. Like, step down or not, God, like whatever you want to see it as, but like he said he has championship aspirations. Orange Cassidy didn't say anything.
Well, that's why I said it did more for Jericho than it did for Orange Cassidy, because like Jericho said, I came here to help younger guys and put them over and make them stars, and so like, just by being in the ring with me, Orange Cassidy's a star. And it's like the match was awful. And then,
but if I think he's right though.
Well, that's why I said he is right. It helps, but it helps him though. He gets to say, by being in the ring with me, you get the rub, and now there's more eyeballs on you. But then when you are not with them anymore, sure, people know the name Orange Cassidy. But was the match so great that they're going to be checking for Orange Cassidy? Like, do these young guys get to show how much they can do, or are people just on to the next person that's feuding with Chris Jericho?
That is definitely what it is. It's on to the next, because I don't know. People want it, but I don't know how great it's going to be. Orange Cassidy does have a record to challenge for the AEW championship, but do we really want to see him versus Jon Moxley? Like, before
first he has to win a battle royal or a ladder match.
Now, before people freak out, I know everybody likes Orange Cassidy, but like, let's be really real here. Is he championship material? I don't think so. I really don't think so. I like him a lot, but I don't want to see a program versus Cassidy. I mean, him and Moxley. Like, that's just not something I want to see. And speaking of Jon Moxley, he beats MJF. I don't know if MJF is going to come back or not. Moxley just goes on like as normal, because I don't see Moxley ever going back to the mid card.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting him to beat MJF though. I thought if there was ever a time for him to drop the championship, now would be the time. If there was ever a person, MJF would be that person. I was shocked that Moxley went over. Pleasantly surprised, I would say, because I like Mox. I liked him when he was Dean Ambrose. He's basically the same guy. Like, let's just call it. He's basically the same guy. So if you hated Dean Ambrose and you like Mox, the only thing that could possibly be is that you're just sticking it to WWE somehow.
And I don't like either. So I kept the same energy regardless of the name change.
Yeah, I'm keeping the same energy. I like Dean. I like Mox. So, I'm pleasantly surprised that he's still the champ. But I thought MJF, like, this was his time to shine.
Yeah.
I'm going to do something different with the title, because like Jericho, Mox, and then Cody with the TNT Championship, and Brody. There's all WWE guys, the tag team champions, all WWE guys.
Mhm.
You know, for AEW to finally be like, listen, what we created and what we built to, we've realized our mission statement within 1 year or like a little over a year. The perfect way to encapsulate that would be to make their top guy a totally new star that they mostly created fully outside of the WWE sphere of influence and give it to MJF, but they didn't. I mean, they still have time to do it, but this was the perfect time.
Yeah, it would have been a perfect time, but it's just also the fact I wanted MJF to win as well, but I'm just like, what do you do with Jon Moxley after? With him being kind of like your hottest guy in the company, like what do you do with him if he's not the champion?
I mean, honestly, you do, because they fell into the same trap that WWE fell into with Moxley, right? They told us he's deranged, he's lunatic, anything can happen with Jon Moxley, but then like anything doesn't happen. Like the predictable stuff sort of happens, which again I'm fine with, but like AEW can do the thing that WWE didn't do and actually give us a deranged madman, which doesn't work as a baby face. So have him lose his championship, and then
descent to madness.
Exactly, it would have been
okay.
It would have been perfect.
I like that. Normally, when I say what do you do with Moxley if he's not champion, people just go, "Shit, I don't know." But I like that. That is a great idea. He can turn it up with the blood and the blood and guts, and he can do all that stuff. Like he does it as champion, but like he can go back to the old Jon Moxley. CZW Jon Moxley if he loses the championship.
That guy that we haven't seen in years.
That we
what they say.
What we thought people were going to get when he left, but
right.
He's been playing it safe. The one time that you got the Jon Moxley of old was for the Kenny Omega death match, and people didn't really like it. So I thought it was okay. I just thought it was too long, but that's all it is. And people say all the time, like, throw the championship on a guy and then see if they sink or swim. They say that, but when it happens, everybody's just like, oh, I don't know about this. But I definitely think MJF would have been the guy for everybody to just be like, this is okay. I accept this.
Yeah, I don't think it would have been like great, like earth-shattering, but like you said, I think people would have been okay with it. And I think he would have done fine as champion. And it would have done something to separate AEW from WWE. They wouldn't have felt like WWE's fourth brand with MJF at the helm.
The only non-ex-WWE person are the women, and they just don't give the women any shine, which sucks.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. But that is All Out. I didn't like the show. I would say there's probably like 2 good matches on the show. Watching it in full was definitely a drag because 4 hours, I didn't enjoy that.
And I mean, the excuses that I saw online for All Out 2 is just absurd. Like the humidity was one that I saw, and then I saw one that was like,
oh my god, he slipped off the ropes because it's hot outside. Please spare me.
Maybe. or even me. Even like I saw when it was like, the crowd wasn't into it because of the humidity. It's really hot. It's just like, have you not been to like a basement party where like it's packed wall to wall and it's just hot?
Wrestling
just,
fans will go to parties.
It's messy and it's just like no, people are still into it. Like the heat and humidity has never, even like WrestleMania is like, they are insanely hot in some places. Concerts. I went to a concert. It was Jay-Z and Justin Timberlake at Yankee Stadium. I felt like I was baking in there, but it was just like, it was a good concert too. But it was just goes back to the point of like the humidity doesn't stop people from having a good time.
Energy is good energy.
Exactly.
I just feel like, I know they are the tag team company, but they just beat everybody over the head with tag team matches.
Yeah.
And that didn't need to be the case. And more AEW talk for AEW Dynamite. I'm going to make you wait for NXT.
It's called the main event, people.
It'll be a good finish line for us. As we said earlier, Matt Hardy retires. Well, not retires. Has to go home to recover. Recover from what?
From a mystery. ailment.
Yeah. Formerly known as Rusev debuts as Miro, Kip Sabian's best man. I didn't like the segment until he showed up, and I like that they are only friends because they both stream on Twitch.
Same.
That's what I really enjoy that. I thought that was funny.
I didn't like the WWE reference because it gets tired. Every single person showing up, and then it's just like, I was wronged. But I do think Rusev has the most potential out of the people who popped up from WWE, and just like
definitely. I mean, I feel him because who hasn't been like slighted by a job with a imaginary brass ring, glass ceiling, promise of promotion, blah blah, blah, this and that. Like, it's very relatable. So like, you know, Dusty Rhodes, stuff like that. So like that on top of, he's talking shit about WWE. That's fantastic. You know, so it's whatever to me. If that's truly the case, I need to see you as a champion within the next year. Or, you know, a championship. I need to see the belt. Like, I need to see the belt on him.
I don't even need to see the belt on him, but I need to see those matches, right? Because like
that too.
What are the great WWE Rusev matches? Now, maybe part of it is because they kept him on a leash, but maybe part of it is that like he just didn't have it. That's possible too.
I like Rusev, but you know, I definitely think his match with AJ Styles was great, and that's probably the only like that was his only world title shot, and I was really okay with it. Like, a lot of the Rusev storylines were just like revolving around Lana, and I always thought that was like always boring. But hopefully now that that she's not around, maybe we can get more creative storylines, and hopefully he is still good in the ring.
He should be. I mean,
till then.
But I don't need like the brass ring promo and the I'm underused stuff. It's just like, come on.
Hopefully that stops, because with Brody Lee, it was just like 3 weeks. Okay, we're done, and then he like became a made man after that. Well, yeah, made man after that, or like he did a lot of work rehabbing the Dark Order. So hopefully a lot of those promos stop, and then, you know, show us what you got. Basically.
Yeah, but it can't be our introduction to every single person. It's like, I was over here and they weren't using me, and now I'm here and I'm gonna be the best. And so it's like, just show up and do what you got to do, man. Like, because at the end of the day, you know, the audience, there's overlap. People watch WWE and AEW, and 9 times out of 10, when they watch AEW, they're not watching to hear about what's happening across the street or what's being done across the street. Deal with what you have on your side of the street. Keep people happy over there, so you don't have to worry about them thinking about what's going on in Stanford.
Yeah, well, Jericho recently said something. It was just like, worry about your show and we'll worry like we worry about ours, and we very much know that's not the case.
Not at all.
And I hope Miro does well. I think he needs to get away from Kip Sabian, because Kip Sabian doesn't do anything on Dynamite. So I definitely think he has that ball and chain already, aligning himself with him. We're just gonna have to hope and see.
And I don't think it was a coincidence that the last time we saw Rusev on WWE was around that Lana wedding angle, and then the first time we see him in AEW, he's the best man at the wedding. It's like,
I love that tweet. That's, you know, the bridesmaid but never the bride, and I was just like, come on, guys, let's not do that.
It's true.
But he literally had a whole wedding segment at some point that the big dog came and squashed that, because, you know, we don't have time for silly wedding angles. But good for Kip Sabian and Penelope Ford for getting married, but they were getting engaged. Like, they were already engaged like way like long time ago, but they decided to finally do something with it.
Yeah.
Chris Jericho and Jake Hager squash. Well, I won't say squash, but they beat Joey Janela and Sonny Kiss again. And then Chris Jericho announces that he's going to be joining the tag team division when the Inner Circle literally already has a
Has
tag
a
team
tag
in
team.
it,
Yeah.
but they're fighting over Samami's van.
Yeah, Jericho.
If you are in the Inner Circle, I think you're doing yourself a great disservice.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like Jericho's really just in it for himself. Like it's embarrassing.
It's true. It's
Wardlow,
just so he can say that he led a faction, honestly. And like you said, the Inner Circle has a tag team. They have a great tag team. They have a tag team that I was hoping and wishing and praying was signed to WWE, so you could see that tag team versus the Usos, versus the New Day, versus the Bar, who at the time was still an active tag team. But honestly, it could be Cesaro with anybody. You're going to get a fire tag team out of it. Yeah. And then they went to AEW. And then Jericho and Jake Hager are going to skip the line.
Well,
for the tag team titles.
Jericho skipped the line twice when he formed the El Sex Gods with Sammy Guevara, and now since Sammy Guevara's out, he's just going to start it with Jake Hager and just skip him again. And I think that's so just ridiculous.
And then is AEW going to go to the well again of like, oh, our group has the tag team titles. There's a legit tag team in the group. What's going to happen? Is the tag team in the group going to fight the two single guys who have the tag team titles in the group, or are they going to protect the gold? Blah, blah, blah. Like you just did this with the Young Bucks, Kenny Omega, Hangman Page.
Yeah, and I don't think it's happening because, oh, no, Greg. I just think that the whole, you're good. I think the remainder of the year is literally just going to be leading up to the Bucks and the Revival. FTR. Like, that's literally where it's going.
That match better deliver, too, because if it doesn't, I'm blaming the Bucks. I'm blaming the Bucks. It will not be FTR's fault if that match is trash, because FTR, let's face it, man, they've been in WWE, and as much as people like to poop on WWE, one thing they did was they threw a diversity of teams at FTR. They had the Usos, they had the New Day, they had AOP, you know what I mean? They had DIY. So they can go with whatever set of tag teams you throw at them. You know, they had who else did they face? I think they faced Gallows and Anderson. They faced all those guys.
They were tag team champions in the WWE, but everybody likes to forget about that because there were
many different styles of teams.
So misused.
People forget about their injuries too. Honestly, like that's what kept them on the shelf. They both got injured. They both were out for a significant amount of time.
Like they were gonna get called up, and they got called up, and then Dash Wilder got injured.
Right away. They got called up and then went right into a feud with the New Day. That's not misused. And they were getting the better of the New Day too. That's not misused. Yeah. That's like here to make an impact.
Yeah, and they eventually did. They won it, and then everybody just likes to forget about that. But it is what it is. MJF belittles Wardlow, and I think this is the face turn for Wardlow. MJF said he is not employed by AEW. He is employed by MJF. Yeah. I wonder how that works.
That's a good. That was a good little wrinkle, though. Like a good factoid to drop in there because it explains so much about their dynamic. That like Wardlow doesn't answer to Tony Khan or anybody else. Like he answers to MJF.
And I think that's cool, but we barely see it heel Wardlow. So I wonder what this face Wardlow is going to be. But wherever they go because Moxley is out of the picture right now.
Yeah. Moxley's got to deal with Lance Archer, the Battle Royale winner, who jumped spots in the rankings.
I like Lance Archer. I like Lance Archer, but them just shoving him on AEW Dark when they really could have just been building him up on the main show.
Yeah.
It is what it is. FTR will be beating Jungle Express's ass again next week because that's all they're good for, just getting their ass beat by more established tag teams.
hopefully, like I said, I can't say this enough. Love FTR, hopefully, but I could see AEW needing to. I could see AEW trying to give Jungle Express a look and have them get like a shock win over the champs to boost. It'd be smart. It'd be smart because, like you said, they have all these tag teams, but then you bury most of them in like these multi-man matches or things that don't mean anything, so that you could just bolster the Young Bucks. It'd be smart. Let Jungle Express get the shock win.
The last team that got a really shocking win was Private Party over the Young Bucks when AEW was just starting out, and they did nothing with that.
Yeah.
So,
and the Revival already, I think they beat Private Party on their way to these tag team championships. So they're not gonna be the ones to get FTR.
I think I would have preferred Frankie Kazarian and Christopher Daniels because they're much more established and, ring veterans. I would have preferred to have a match with them, but that can always come. But hopefully they don't get their ass beat. And I do like the idea of a shock win.
Yeah, it'd be smart. It'd revitalize the division. But I'm holding out hope.
Yes.
Maybe they do it. Maybe they don't.
Prayers. And that's it for AEW. We already went over Kenny Omega saying that he's going to lead into singles competition. Hangman Page says he wants to patch things up. Just intersecting. They're going to crash at some point. Brody Lee beats the hell out of Dustin. I didn't watch the match in full. I was pretty unimpressed. Once I saw the Canadian Destroyer, I was just like, all right, I'm done.
So he beat both the brothers.
Yeah, basically. So I don't know where they're going to go from there. And everybody is talking about this weird new show. It's called the Go Big Show. That's featuring Cody Rhodes or I think he's the host on the show. And I think that he probably knew he was going to do this, so he dropped the title to Brody Lee. But like, if you knew you had to do this show, why didn't you just drop it to anybody else you were squashing week to week?
Yeah.
Like Scorpio Sky probably could have had it. That would have been fine. But
or just keep the title. Like, how much you show up on TBS with the TNT Championship?
Mm-hmm.
Keep it. Show it off. The synergy.
And then earlier today, John Cena was announced to be hosting Wipeout. So you can't run from it, Cody. You can't run from it. When you see Big John,
know
what it is, man.
That's crazy. John Cena's hosting Wipeout now, and then you got The Miz doing Cannonball.
I like Cannonball. I don't know if you ever seen it, but I like it a lot.
I haven't watched it.
It is a very silly show, and I was very surprised when I saw Roxy from 106 in Park on there. I was just like, wait, what?
The commercial. I was like,
I'd never seen her in the commercial, so when I saw her, I was just like, oh, it's you.
Yeah. But, the commercials are very like Miz-centric, but like,
right?
I caught a glimpse of her in the commercial once. I was just like, that's not Roxy. And then like, I think I saw a tweet at her or something. I was like, oh shit, it is Roxy.
Yeah, that's really cool for her to be there. But the main event.
Who is walking out of NXT Super Tuesday II with the NXT Championship around their waist?
Both men running on fumes here, and that is not how you want to be balanced in a precarious position like this. The top rope.
On the top rope. Balor. Oh my God. 1916 from the top. Balor to the cover. Count. We have a new NXT champion. Here is your winner. And new NXT
Super Tuesday II. They set up a lot of stuff and ended a lot of things. Finn Balor is our 2-time NXT champion, and I love this. I said it last week. I love that the old guard of NXT are the only people that are like tough enough to get that, the 2-time reign. So he's up there with his rival Samoa Joe and one of his friends, Shinsuke Nakamura. So
yeah. And I thought that was interesting too, because Samoa Joe beat Finn to get one of his reigns. So it's just like it went from Finn to Joe to Nak, and then back and forth between Nakamura and Joe. But like, I think that's cool that cluster of 3 men who like
Mhm.
literally passed the first set of NXT championships to each other are now the only 2-time champions. Like the 3 of them can make that
Mhm.
claim.
Yeah, so sort of like a what would it be? Like what is it? Like the death row portrait?
Yeah,
It'll just be Finn Balor,
exactly.
Joe, and so
Exactly.
yeah,
I thought that was
good
real
for
cool.
them. Adam Cole cuts a very face promo after, just respecting Finn Balor and and stuff. We know they're aligned with Bullet Club having the same, routes coming up. And I think this is where the Undisputed Era starts getting this conflict because we still haven't seen Adam Cole interact with Bobby Fish, Roger Strong, or Kyle O'Reilly. And surprisingly enough, this week Kyle O'Reilly isn't on the show when Bobby Fish and when Roger Strong has his match. So
Yeah, and I was gonna say too. You said we haven't seen Adam Cole with Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly. We haven't seen and Roddy Strong. We haven't seen Kyle either. Like since that Drake Maverick moment of him sort of showing mercy while Roddy
so
and Roddy and Bobby still want a savage.
future Shock might be back, and I would really like that a lot. But breaking up the Undisputed Era, that hurt a lot. But I do like Roger Strong. I think he's just amazing. I'm worried about Bobby Fish if they break up. Not that he's like bad or anything, but like him without Kyle O'Reilly, I'm worried about that.
I mean, it might be good for him though, honestly, because like the 4 of those guys, the one thing they can say is that they are like a legendary group in that break them apart, you got people who can all be world champion. You put them together and then like they dominate all the gold. It's just incredible to watch. But yeah, Future Shock, Bobby and Roddy as a tag team. I don't think I've seen that even on the indies though. Like that's the intriguing thing to me.
Yeah, I'm curious if they're gonna become a tag team and still just don the name Undisputed Era, or they still might do single stuff from time to time. And if they're gonna like start doing a lot of single stuff, I'm gonna be worried for Bobby Fish.
Yeah, I mean, I think Bobby Fish can go. I think he'll be fine. The thing is just about him being so injury prone that you don't know.
Yeah, that's the worry part.
I
like Bobby Fish a lot.
Yeah, I like him too. It's just his legs, you know what I mean? Like you just hope he can keep his legs under him because he's just injury prone. But
Very
I think he'll be fine.
But hopefully throughout probably starting next week, we'll probably start seeing the descent in the fall of the Undisputed Era. And if number 1 contender for the NXT Championship, who do you think it should be?
The first contender? I mean, I don't know. I don't think it should be any of those guys that were in the Fatal 4-Way. It shouldn't
Definitely
be.
Not.
It shouldn't be one of those guys. But it's like NXT's in such a rebuilding phase too, man. Like
instantly,
I really don't know.
Insane. Got a new champion, then they just had to rebuild the house all over again. That's really unfortunate.
Because I felt like Finn would be the one to take it from Karrion Kross. That he would have to go into the demon mode to do it. But now that he already has it, and Karrion Kross is not coming back, I just don't see who that first feud really is. Timothy Thatcher's already got his hands tied. Damian Priest, Bronson Reed's not ready. Dexter Lumis is out. So I don't know.
Dexter Lumis being out is so unfortunate. It's so sad to me. I would love if Dexter Lumis was a number 1 contender. Like that's who I would pick. But the only person that's in the division that isn't occupied is Cameron Grimes, and he beat Finn Balor before, so he might just come out next week. I already beat you once, and I could beat you again for the championship, and that's probably something that we get, something for weekly until like the next takeover, whenever that is.
Yeah, because they said it's not going to be during Survivor Series weekend, right?
Yeah, I believe there's nothing in October, so I'm just unsure what is going on now. And I'm unsure what NXT is going to be doing for Survivor Series. Are they going to be in the brand versus brand thing. But who knows?
I don't know. Maybe. I mean, it would suck to not have War Games, but they are the reigning champs of the brand versus brand wars. So
I'm okay with no War Games. After 3 years of War Games, I'm okay with like missing one. I love all the War Games matches, but I'm okay with missing like just one.
do you think that there's no War Games because Undisputed Era was in all the previous War Games and they will not be in existence in November?
Thinking about a War Games without Undisputed Era, it's not a War Games. Like that's really just it. So I can't even think of a group of people that you would put into War Games that isn't just for the sake of it, you know?
Right.
And Finn Balor's not doing no damn War Games.
Yeah, no, he's not.
So if Imperium is not involved in the War Games match against like a whole bunch of like faces like Kushida, Bronson Reed, Priest, insert 2 more people, then I'm not
right.
So I'm okay with no War Games for now since there's no Undisputed Era and there's not going to be no Imperium. I'm okay with them not just like throwing just a mesh of 10 people in there.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's just Undisputed Era being broken up is a heartbreaking thought, though.
It's in the mind, but you know, it's gonna live in our hearts forever, man.
Yeah, it will.
When they rained all the gold, and then it kind of just stopped. But we get a segment where Robert Stone wants to break Shotzi Blackheart's tank.
I wish they would have let him at least get one hit off.
I would have liked if he like swung it, but you know, like the vibration of the bat would have like hurt him, like some stupid slapstick cartoony stuff. But it leads into Aaliyah and Shotzi Blackheart bothering Io Shirai, and Io Shirai is just like, all right, let's just beat it. Let's just beat the shit out of Aaliyah for some reason.
Yeah, she bumped her. She stepped on her Jordans, man. Like
and now next week we'll be getting Shotzi Blackheart versus Io Shirai. Should be a good match. I'm happy for Shotzi to get this title shot. She's been doing like being just a person that you just throw into a tag team in the middle of a feud. Like they did it with Tegan Nox, Rhea Ripley, and her time is now. So
and she's been reliable though. She has been very reliable in that role, which I think is what got her here. It's what brought her to the dance. She's
in the role that Candice was a year ago. And I think she's doing amazing with that. So should be good. I don't think she's going to win, but I think it's going to be really good. It should raise her stock a lot. And then finally, we get a face-off between Candice LeRae and Tegan Nox at the Gargano house. It didn't go into an all-out brawl like I thought it would because I guess they didn't want to like mess up any furniture. But I'm
can't
glad.
Be their real house though. Like that has to be a set. Just wreck whatever you got to wreck, man.
You don't think Gargano house that nice?
It might be nicer. I don't know. I mean, he was an NXT champion for a while, so you know. He's always held gold at NXT. He's Johnny Takeover. Those bonus checks have to be pretty good.
Yeah, it has to be getting like extra bread for going that extra hour
exactly.
Every takeover. It goes into like different segments, which I really like. It's not just like a one and done kind of thing. Tegan Nox teases that she wants to do it the Gargano way, which I thought was really nice, but I was just like, no way Tegan Nox to be a heel. Like, I don't think that's going to work out.
Maybe though. I mean, who knows?
I don't think like she just looks too nice to be a heel. Like Bailey was like, you know, with the side ponytail, and she eventually like took it off. But I don't know if Tegan could just turn it up like that. You know,
could be a slow burn to her joining the same way we got. I know this is main roster, but the same way we got Cedric Alexander jumping into the Hurt Business. They could be slowly like moving in that direction.
Maybe if Candice LeRae gets the win in their match that they'll eventually have, like I don't think they're just not going to have a match. maybe she's just like, okay, I'll see it your way, or like the stipulation will be like, see it my way now. Well,
Yeah.
like not the official match stipulation, but the stipulation in the match. So that should be really cool. Velveteen Dream has a match against Tahuti Miles, who he beats the hell out of, and then Kushida comes out. So it's going to be Kushida versus Dream. I don't know how long that lasts, because I don't know when the next takeover is. I'm very bad with dates, but
I don't think they said though. I don't know. I don't think anybody knows when the next takeover is.
Yeah. So hopefully this is the rise of Kushida going to the top, because Kushida has more or less been the same person since he was in New Japan, and now he finally got like the WWE makeover by just being a little more relentless, or just like really turning it up on Dream, not trying to be a nice guy no more. So hopefully this is his rise to North American Championship at least.
And he's a guy that everybody was excited about too. So it's just like, as controversial as Dream is right now, which is to say very controversial, it's just like he is also a guy that you can rely on to have good matches. So if they're not paying attention to the other stuff, at the very least, Kushida's going to get a good match out of it.
Yeah. I'm hoping that Kushida gets the win here and then just like starts propelling. But Damian Priest and Tim Thatcher finally have a date for their match. It's been 2 weeks. It has been very like unsure of like when it's going to happen. It'll be happening next week. I think it'd be really messed up for Damian Priest to lose here, but I do like Thatcher a lot. So.
I do too. I do too. And I like that vignette or promo, whatever you want to call it, where he's just like, I watched
pointing out his weaknesses.
Yeah. I watched the film.
Stuff.
I know how to dismantle you. I will dismantle you. And I was just like,
definitely.
All of this makes sense. Even, he said something about, he was like, yeah, you leave your feet a lot. Like, that's dangerous. And it's funny too, because, I think Jim Ross said something similar on AEW in that Dark Order tag match. I forget who it was. They jumped outside, or I think Colt Cabana, when he went to the top rope for the finish, and Jim Ross pointed out, like, when you leave your feet in a match, like that's not a good idea. Only there's not much that Jim Ross could do about that from the announce table. But Timothy Thatcher is in the ring, and he can make you regret it.
My favorite thing about the promo is when he said when he swings, he leaves his arm out. Just grab it. And I was just like, that's like boxing level scouting going on there. I think that's really cool.
Film. Yeah.
Yeah, he's been studying the tape. So I'm looking forward to that. I would hate for Damian Priest to lose here, but it doesn't have to be the end of their feud. Like they could definitely either or can definitely be 2-time North American champion. Or like he can be the first. I'm not sure.
Yeah, he would be the first.
Yeah.
Timothy Thatcher too. He's a guy who could be a number one contender for the NXT title. Just not right now, because when he contends for it, he needs to take it. He needs to definitely. Hold it for a little while.
That's why I'm very worried about this title match going on next week. I thought it was very sudden because he just lost to Finn Balor, and he was just like, no, I'm gonna. So maybe that's just like the makeup, like, sorry, you have to job to Finn Balor, but not job, but lay down for Balor. But here's a North American Championship shot for you. But we'll see how that goes next week. Wednesday, finally back to the Wednesday time slot, so that's fantastic. Rhea Ripley versus Mercedes Martinez. I thought this match was very violent and it was very good. Mercedes Martinez is an amazing performer, and so is Rhea Ripley.
Yeah, it's good to see Mercedes Martinez getting the look too, because she was in those Mae Young Classics, right? And I think, I don't think we saw her for a little while after that. I think she popped up at AEW but didn't get signed.
Yeah,
and so now
she popped up at NXT like regularly, but this is like when NXT wasn't, on the USA Network, so it's hit or miss if you like seen it or not.
Right. And also too, it's like because she wasn't signed, like they weren't exactly taking her seriously. So, even with this loss though, she's badass. She gets to look badass, and like hopefully, everybody can't be a champion, everybody can't, be a contender, but she is a veteran. So hopefully they find space for her to have a big moment, whether it is or isn't with the championship. And you know what? The main roster could use another veteran up there too. So it's like if she just breezes through and goes up top, then it's fine.
So this happened on WWE social media, but after she lost the match, Rob Stone basically said she's no longer affiliated with the brand. She's out of here. It's just us. So I'm thinking Retribution bound. Like, it just makes sense to me because the last person that was part of the Rob Stone brand that left the brand may be a part of Retribution. Like, people say that Chelsea Green is going to be in Retribution. I'm not sure. I don't want to see it. I don't want to see it, but I would take Mercedes Martinez instead because, like you said, she is badass.
She is, and like, first of all, Rob Stone, can you afford to be dropping people from the Rob Stone brand? Like,
I think he's not getting a return on his investment.
Yeah,
That's one.
I don't think you're in a position to be doing that, but
I don't think Aaliyah's getting paid.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, man, if she's one of the women in Retribution, then that would be quite interesting.
Yeah, her and Mia Yim are my two guesses to be a part of it because I think Mia Yim had her farewell last week against Shotzi Blackheart. So whenever they finally take the mask off and take off the Darth Vader voices, it'll be these amazing NXT alumni. And
I think Kaden Carter is one of the women too, just because she likes to wear Converses, and then there's a woman in Retribution who also is wearing Converses. So I don't know if it's I don't know. But that's my.
I know
guess.
a lot of people. I know a lot of people in Orlando that wear, or just like in the PZ that wear Converse. Just on social media. Like nobody's getting nice, man. Nobody's rocking Jordans, but. She would be a great pick. I am kind of tired of the Team Ninja thing because they're literally just used to get squashed. Her and Casey Catanzaro. So yeah. I would like for her to. That would be a good move up for her. And for Rhea Ripley, Mercedes Martinez is out your way. Raquel Gonzalez is next, so that's her path. So to get through before she meets Io Shirai again. Probably at the end of the year.
But do you think Io Shirai has to beat her whenever they meet again? Right?
Yes.
Because it doesn't make sense to just go. Not that Rhea Ripley's a step backwards or like a step down or anything like that, but like Io would need that win more just to solidify herself as a dominant NXT Women's Champion.
Yeah, her winning it against in the triple threat with Charlotte was a really good way, but I think Rhea Ripley will be the big win in NXT that she needs because, yes, Tegan Nox was cool, Dakota Kai was cool, but Rhea Ripley is one of the big dogs in the women's division, so definitely need that win there. And that's our show. Let's go.
That's it.
Time flies by when you're talking shit about AEW.
Yeah. Which I could do all day, man, too. I really could.
I mean, it is very easy to do.
Yeah.
But I'm very glad to have you on on the show.
Thank you for inviting me, man. I was happy to get the invite.
You will be replacing me in the 2K19 finale in the 6-man match with J5 and Mark.
That's a mistake. I'm not good at 2K19, man.
Cornell already put out the challenge on RSPN earlier this week, talking his stuff. I'm not that great at 2K. I could live with that.
Yeah, I faced Cornell in a last man standing match once, and it's just like I got beat so bad. And
did he use the Brock Lesnar that had the 450?
No, he used Randy Orton, and it's like my mistake was that I just kept getting up. I kept getting up at 9. And then I get a little bit of offense in, and he put me right back down. So I must have done that about 5 or 6 times before he finally finished me off. But just it was bad.
The level of commitment isn't there because I never thought about giving my Triple H shooting star press. So there's level of commitment here.
Yeah.
But You got to make me proud.
I won't. I won't.
I'm gonna give you all my energy. Don't let him get any finishers off. That's all I can give you.
You think let has anything to do? You think I let? Let is not a part of that equation.
The online stuff gets a little shaky when there's 6 men in there. So just make sure your R2 is straight.
All right.
I'll be watching from Tony Hawk. But if there's anything you want to plug that you're doing outside of all your other big projects.
Nah, man, just ESPN's Cheap Heat podcast. We release an episode every week. This week's should be coming in tomorrow, which is Friday. You can get it wherever you get podcasts, Spotify, iTunes, Apple, all of that. ESPN's Cheap Heat podcast with Peter Rosenberg and myself.
All right. This week on the A Show.
At Guy Greg.
Oh, go ahead.
On Twitter, Instagram.
Yeah. Thank you so much for being here. On the channel this week, we have the A Show. We have this show. Spot Caller should be coming back. We are going to be reviewing TNA Victory Road 2001. It was suggested. We're going to do it. I've never seen the show before.
I don't think I've seen that one. You said Victory Road 2001?
Yes, that's the one with Jeff Hardy and Sting, the infamous match. That was the highlight.
I didn't see the show, but I saw that.
I don't know how to feel about it, but we're going to do it. The Stardom 5-star Grand Prix special will be coming as well. I just have to watch all the tournament matches for that. And you can always listen to the Writer's Room. It's not timely. You can listen to it whenever. Booking Brock Lesnar and what happens if Shawn Michaels never broke his back. I wasn't really watching around that time, but it's a good episode and everybody should check it out.